Welcome to one of the most listened to music news podcasts in the world, SGNP, with your host, Darren Sutherland. Join us as we talk with industry leaders, artists, and entertainers about their faith, family, and careers. This is information you will not find anywhere else on radio, web, or in a magazine, but only firsthand on SGNP.
I heard about its angry waves, but I heard what's waiting just beyond that shore. And I heard it's a land of peace where time will be no more. Stop. I really love this life I'm living, but I know it don't last long. Know the man who died to make a way for me to make heaven home. So I will cross that water with its raging tide. I'm not afraid, I won't be alone, he'll be right by my side. I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. I can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. I can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm going over where the soul never dies. Millions of souls who've made the journey, I can hardly wait to see Peter and John and all the saints of old, so many friends and family. So I will walk and talk with them on streets of gold. And I will see all the other half that we were never told. I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. I can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. I can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm going over where the soul never dies. Where the stormy billows, it can sway your toes, won't be so hard to I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. Can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. I can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm gonna cross to the other side of Jordan, gonna rest in the by and by. I can't wait to see my Jesus, I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm going over where the soul never dies. I'm going over where the soul never dies.
And welcome once again to Southern Gospel News Podcast, the most listened to Southern Gospel Music News Podcast in the world. And it's crazy. Arthur, I was looking at our listenership the other day. We got people in India listening. Did you know they listen to Southern Gospel music in India? I didn't.
That's awesome.
It is kind of pretty cool. And guess what? We are the number 19 overall listened to podcast in Slovakia right now. Number 19. That's of all formats. ESPN, Wall Street Journal. I mean, number 19 we checked in last week. The number 19 podcast in the world. in Slovakia. I'm
incredible.
thinking it was the Doyle Lawson show that we did a year and a half ago. Because Slovakians in that part of Eastern Europe, they love bluegrass music. So that's what I'm thinking.
Oh my word! Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's serious. How you been, man? You been up there at NQC all week long? I didn't come to NQC this year. I missed it. I'm missing it, but
it's different. It's so different. It's not your typical, NQC.
Right.
We sang Sunday night and Monday night, and then we were done. As far as the group, it's not typical. Where we're there every night and
right
every day and something going on. It's a fall festival. It's not your typical NQC. They don't have the showcases and all that kind of, as many going on. So, I'm just grateful that they had something, that they didn't just cancel it completely.
Yeah.
And they did have something. And, I think it's just as encouraging for the artist that got to come and perform as it is to the audience, because you know as well as I do. There's a bunch of them. I mean, several of them made mention that this was the first time they've been out of the house. This is the first time they've performed since March, and so I think it was just encouraging them, and I appreciate the board of directors deciding to go ahead with this, and I think it was just as much a shot in the arm for the artist as it was the audience, and but it was good. It was good. It was different, but it was good. It was good. The crowds was of course Sunday nights kind of always a little low because people are coming into town, and so. But Monday was great. Monday night was great, and then we had our induction ceremony Tuesday, and had a good crowd for it. It wasn't super, but it was good. And then Tuesday night's crowd was good, and then of course the rest of the week, the governor has kind of lifted some of the restrictions, and they're able to actually put more chairs out. They were limited to 1,500 seats. As of last week, but now I think they've added some more. I don't know how many they've added, but they got to add some more. So I think it's going to be good. I think it's turned out really good.
Hey, you know what? And here's what I think. I didn't get to go last year, as you well know, because I was just recovering from heart surgery. This year, we didn't make plans to go because, like you said, it wasn't the same format. We couldn't get the same type of interviews and all that kind of stuff that we like to get when we come. We can watch it on TV. We can watch the groups, blah, 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 blah. Let me say this, and I'm going to say this for the naysayers, okay, and for the ones that say, well, NQC is this, that, and another. When you ain't got it, you miss it no matter what, okay? And I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss it, okay?
Yeah.
I can sit back, and Arthur, you don't have to agree with me. You can't agree with me or whatever. But as well as I know, groups, individuals, fans, companies, publications, magazines, radio, podcasts, bloggers, whatever, have always made comments one way or the other about NQC and the pros and cons, okay? I will say this. It is the best building block, regardless of who runs it and who makes money on it, that Southern gospel music has today, and that's saying a lot. And that's from someone who sat back and looked at the business model and wondered why, okay? It is the best building block, period, okay? And
absolutely.
Kudos to Clark Beasley for being able to hold all these independent church folks. And when I say that, I'm picking at denominations. But basically what Clark has done is he's got an independent Baptist, a Southern Baptist, a Free Will Baptist, and a conventional Baptist and a Church of God guy and an independent Church of God guy and a Methodist and a Lutheran. And he's brought them all under one roof, and music in gospel music form and been able to put together a show of shows that represents the best this industry has to offer. And I miss it. I miss being there. I miss palling around with people. I miss getting to see you because, I mean, basically, me and you do this show all year long, and that's when we communicate more than any other time. You know?
Yeah,
so,
it is.
So,
it is, absolutely. Yeah.
So I wanted to throw that out there. And congratulations to the Hall of Fame inductees this past week. Good stuff.
Boy, it was just a tremendous program.
Yeah.
And I tell you who stole the show.
Who's that?
Melvin Clout.
Melvin Clout. The old Indian.
Melvin Clout. Absolutely. Probably, I would say, in fact, we talked about it yesterday at the board meeting. That's probably the best acceptance speech we've ever heard. It was incredible.
Did you record it by
so
chance?
Moving. We did, and it will be on the new, the next NQC Live DVD that will come out, and that supports the Hall of Fame, of course. But it was just phenomenal. If you saw it, it was just so touching and so heartfelt. And boy, I mean, especially because Melvin's a jokester, and of course, boy, he just got serious, and it was just a great moment, and God touched him, and it blessed me. I know that for sure. And but it was a great event. It really was.
Kelly Nelon Clark and Jason Clark are our guests today, Arthur. You were, of course, at NQC working on that Hall of Fame when I did the interview, so you wasn't able to attend this one. But there's been some news that's been released. You released it Tuesday, and quite frankly, folks, Arthur and I are friends, but he doesn't give me the inside scoop on everything, nor do I ask him until I find out, just like you found out. And I know, Arthur, at the time of this interview, that was not an interview because this is not an interview, but at the time of mine and your conversation, it's Thursday afternoon, about 2:30 in the afternoon. So I want to just be very transparent with everybody and say, no, Darren don't have a scoop. Darren don't care if he gets a scoop. Darren just wants people to give information and be blessed. But, you hadn't released a press release on it, but you did make it known in public that the Southern Gospel Music Association's Hall of Fame would be leaving Dollywood and going to a different location. What can you share as the president? You're talking as the president of the SGMA now. You're not talking as my co-host. You're not talking as my friend. You're not talking as the lead singer of the Kingdom Heirs. But what can you say about the Hall of Fame leaving Dollywood?
Well, we of course, we didn't open. Well, actually, we opened one day this year. March the 13th, and then the 14th, the whole world mashed the pause button, and we closed. And then because of course, the park opened back in middle of June 13th, and because of the mandates and the safety precautions, our museum, a lot of the indoor things didn't open. Our museum didn't open, Dolly's museum didn't open, and we won't open this year because of the safety concerns with that, just kind of following regulations and that sort of thing. So, but with that, and everybody knows how much this year has affected everybody. I mean, it's affected everybody's bottom line. And Dollywood, we knew at some point that we would probably move somewhere else on park, simply because of the location. That's the only direction that they could expand the park, and we were kind of not in a way, but that direction would be completely reworked, and so we kind of thought that they would move us somewhere else on park. And the bottom line is just, the expense of doing that, and they couldn't justify it. And so they didn't renew our lease for next year. So we'll be leaving the park. Now, let me say this. Dollywood has been such a blessing to the museum and the Hall of Fame. Listen, we couldn't have had. There's no way for the past 21 years we could have had the museum and the Hall of Fame if it wasn't for Dollywood and what they did for us. They have donated so much money and put so much money and time and effort into the museum. I can't do anything but just thank them for what they have done, and just the exposure alone to put us on that in that arena, that secular arena, to be exposed to the world, our music and the history of our music and what we do to the world. I cannot do anything but just thank them, the Herschens, Dolly Parton Productions, Dollywood, just everybody has just been so gracious to us and just helped us so much through the years. And I just want to personally thank them for allowing us a place for the museum. And my sad, yes, it's an end of an era. And anytime we go through that, about every 20 years, you have, there's always kind of an end of an era. And, it was right at the time. And I'm excited for what God's got in store for us. I don't know what it is, but He does. And I trust Him. And God is in the mind-blowing business. I can't sit back and think, well, I would want this or I would want that. And He's got something better for me. So, that's just being very transparent. I'm just grateful for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the future because, listen, it's Rodney Griffith told me the other day, said they can't hold us back anymore. As great as the platform was at Dollywood, it did limit us some. As far as what we could do, as far as the people that could come in. You had to buy a ticket to come in to the park, and that was just part of the general admission. Well, when we find another place, you won't have that that problem. You'll be able to come and to the Hall of Fame, and so we're just trusting the Lord that He knows better than us, and He's going to give us the wisdom and lead us in the right direction and the right people. And we're hoping it'll be in the area. We're hoping to stay in Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area, because they want us here, and because they love what we do and love the people that we bring in, and so we're hoping that we'll be able to stay here. But if not, we're just going to follow the Lord's lead and where He's going to take us. And so I'm excited about it. I really am.
21, 22 years, Arthur. Is that what it was?
21 years. Yeah,
21.
This is our 21st year.
Let me say this, and I'm going to use this pulpit, which I very seldom do, Arthur, if you don't mind. Okay, this ain't from Arthur Rice. This is from Darren Sutherland. Okay, and we've been doing this for 3 years, and I don't even think I've ever used this pulpit like I do. But for those out there on social media that's calling for people to call Dollywood and complain that the lease was not renewed, shame on you, okay? Shame on you. For 21 years, Dollywood Productions, the Hirsch family, who is one of the top Christian businesses in the United States of America. And folks, if you don't think so, look at what they do at Silver Dollar City. Look what they do for gospel music during October. Look what they do for contemporary music with Rock the Park. Look what they do at Silver Dollar City. Look what they do with Black Gospel at Stone Mountain in Atlanta. Guess what? This is a Christian organization, a Christian family. Are very strong members. The family, they live here in Atlanta, very strong members of Andy Stanley's church, very strong in the mission works. Bless their heart for helping gospel music for 21 years. I challenge anybody out there, and this is the end of my pulpit, to find a corporation that has backed Southern gospel music more from a corporate standpoint over the past 21 years than the Hearst family. And if you're complaining about it and you're going to call them and pick at them, shame on you. And I'll leave it at that, Arthur.
Yep.
You didn't say that, and you can say, well, Arthur's going to agree with you because he's an employee over there at the Kingdom Marriage. No. Arthur's agreeing with me because he knows it's the truth and he's worked there. And that's my bully pulpit.
Yep.
Is that okay with you that I said that?
You're exactly right. They have done more to promote and help gospel music than any corporation in the world. Yep, they really have.
Bingo. We'll leave it at that. Yep.
If you're going to do anything, call them and thank them. Thank them. Tell them how much you appreciate what they did and what they've done for us, and encourage them to do more. And I think that will go a whole lot further, I think.
Hey, and if you disagree with me, you can find me on Facebook. I ain't that hard to find. You can always go to Southern Gospel News Podcast. You can find me there. I'm not trying to be Simon Cowell here, folks. I'm just trying to say thank you, Jesus, for the Hearst family. Thank you for their gift to the world of Christian music as a whole. And I know our fans are loyalists and extremists, and you're going to hear a little bit of this loyalist story with Kelly Nelon Clark in just a second about her loyalty to Southern gospel music and what she does. But people say, well, Darren, aren't you loyal to gospel music? Yes, I'm loyal to gospel music, but I'm loyal to the message of Christ first, and I believe you're the same way, Arthur. So thanks to those folks. And, hey, check us out on the internet. By the way, thanks for your buddy Andy did a great job last week. If you hadn't heard that interview, the piano player with the Kingdom Heirs, Andy Stringfield, great interview there. That was good fun. And Andy, give you any thoughts on that since we talked last? I don't guess so.
Did what? I'm sorry.
Did Andy give you any thoughts on that interview since we talked last? You and I?
Oh yeah. Oh, he had a ball. He said, I hope I did good. So Darren kind of threw me on a couple questions. I said, well, he's kind of good at that.
If you hadn't heard Andy, listen to Andy. And I'm not picking on Andy for one thing or another, but go back and listen. If you haven't listened to the Mark Trammell interview, go back and listen to the Mark Trammell interview. Arthur, here's what is amazing to me, okay? And I'm going to say this, and then we're going to go to the interview with Kelly and Jason. You knew more than likely of the Hall of Fame's move when we were doing the interview with Trammell.
Yeah.
Okay? When you hear the interview with Trammell talks about leaving the Kingsmen, God opening the doors with the cathedrals. Leaving the cathedrals, God opening the door with Greater Vision. Leaving Greater Vision, God opening the door with Gold City. Leaving Gold City, God opening the door with the Mark Trammell Trio, now the Mark Trammell Quartet. If that isn't evidence in what God can do, you're not a Southern gospel music fan. You are an elitist, bottom line, selfish individual that is stuck in 1955 and has no trust in what's going on in the future. And I'm going to leave it at that. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Go back and listen to it. And you can find that interview at www.southerngospelnewspodcast.com, southerngospelnewspodcast.com. And isn't it funny how things get put together like that and get put together like this and all that kind of good stuff? Fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. You'll hear me and Kelly and Jason. We'll come back. Arthur and I will close the show on Southern Gospel News Podcast. Hey, this is Darren, and I'm here for my buddy Mike Lindell and My Pillow. That's right, My Pillow. I got to tell you a little secret, and this is a true story. The other day I'm laying in the bed. I looked at Mary and I said, I'm going to get me some new pillows today. She said, what do you need with new pillows? You got them. I said, I got one that's decent. And I didn't know which one it was. I mean, I knew which one it was, and I pulled the cover off of it, and it was only My Pillow. The rest of them were these ones that we bought from TJ Maxx or Target or Walmart or somewhere that just had worn out their welcome. And you know what, guys? I feel like I needed new pillows. And she said, well, why don't you call My Pillow, because you like the one you got there, and tell them what you're looking for, and they'll help you out. You know what I called, and guess what? They helped me out. They asked me what size I was. They asked me how I slept. Did I sleep on my back or on my side or on my stomach? What felt right? Feathers or, blah, 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 foam. They asked me all these questions. More questions than I ever dreamed about a pillow, and I got my new My Pillow in the mail, and I've slept right. You want that change in your life? It's real simple. 1-800-338-2330. 1-800-338-2330. Use the code word SGNP. That's right, the code word SGNP. And tell them you heard about this special offer. And when you use that code, you'll get a great discount from the folks at My Pillow. I use My Pillow. You should too. 1-800-338-2330. Use the code SGNP. My Pillow, the official pillow and sleep provider of Southern Gospel News Podcast.
Hey folks, you're listening to Southern Gospel News Podcast. That's right, SGNP. My buddy Darren Sutherland and Arthur Rice, they are knocking it out of the park. Listen, check them out. Continue to listen, but be sure to check out Southern Gospel Point of View on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play.
Welcome once again to Southern Gospel News Podcast. Darren Sutherland, your host. Arthur is not with me today. He's at NQC Fall Festival working up there with those guys. And on the phone with me today, I was giving them a hard time before we came on. They're riding down the road going from point A to point B because they never slow down, okay? They never slow down. They're either birthing cattle at this point of their life, catering weddings, traveling from point A to point B, changing tires in the middle of nowhere, are doing what they do best of all, and that's singing and proclaiming the good news of Jesus Christ. On the line with us, Jason Clark, Kelly Nelon Clark of the Nelons. Guys, how are y'all doing today?
Good morning.
Wonderful. Where are you headed?
Well, last night we were at NQC Fall Fest, and after we got done playing there, we jumped in the bus. The bus brought us back to the farm. We woke up this morning at the farm. We got in our car, and now we're headed to Panama City Beach.
Dude. Woo. Let me ask you this. You stay on Front Beach Road or you stay on Thomas Drive when you're down there? Where do you stay?
Where we staying, Kelly? That's Kelly's call. She books the rooms. I don't know.
Hold on. I'm telling you just a second. We are staying on Front Beach.
Front Beach Road. What's your favorite restaurant down there, Kelly?
My favorite, I love Salty Sue's, and I do love, even though it's a little more pricey, I love Captain Anderson's.
Really? So you're an old school person if you like Captain Anderson.
Yeah.
Of course.
I am old school. I love that place.
I do too, but the funny thing about it is I'm old school, and I go to Panama probably 4 times or 5 times a year, and I love Angelo's, and Angelo's really ain't that much different than Ryan's, except they got a big, steer out front, and you can see them cook the steak, and it's the ambiance of the place, and I just like it. But it is what it is.
I like Angelo's.
I like Angelo's.
For me, it's Boondocks. I love Boondocks.
Yeah. And so anyway, now that the Panama City Visitors and Conventions Bureau has placed a commercial on the show, we appreciate that and urge everybody to go to Panama City this week if you're not headed to NQC Fall Fest. Hey, how was the crowd up there? I know because of, it's not the regular NQC. We knew that going in. People like me who usually make the trek and go up there did not go up there. And Arthur's up there, of course, with the Kingdom Heirs, and he's doing what he does behind the scenes for the NQC. But was it the same? I mean, you know what? I applaud the guys and girls for trying to do what they've got to do to keep it going. But is it? Well, you explain what people missing up there this week and what you saw in that sort of thing.
I was going to say, I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I don't know what I expected, because it's all new and it's all different and they're doing the best they can. But when we got up to sing last night, even it's not in the round, so it was in the back to the front. It's like a one side setup,
Mm-hmm.
but it was packed in a social distancing way. So when you're up there on the platform, it feels like normal. I mean, it was a great, energized
The
audience.
crowd was fantastic.
And they did so good, and seems like they enjoyed it. That the groups that are on the program that night, they have a place to go and set up. So if you're there all week, but you only sing on Monday and Friday, you have to tear your stuff down, but put it back up. But it is the best way because it keeps that from being too congested. And we had a lot of traffic in the room. We sold a lot of product last night. So it's a good day for us.
And I'll say this, last night, the governor lifted the mandates. And so Clark Beasley told me that they're adding tonight and the rest of the week, they're able to add 900 more seats, and they're putting out a e-blast and, trying to sell those other extra seats. So yeah, I felt the same way what you just said. I told the board and the leadership there, I said, you know what, guys, I know it would have been a lot easier for you to say, hey, we'll see you next year. And, it'd have been a lot cheaper for you to do that. But I appreciate them trying to make a go of it. And they did the best they could do under the circumstances. And I will say this, I believe them trying to find a way in the most difficult circumstances because of mandates and the new climate that we're in, I believe it'll give some other promoters some confidence to say, hey, you know what? They tried it. They figured it out. Let's figure this thing out. And that's the main thing. I was really pleased with that.
Kelly, we would be remiss if we didn't bring this up, and I want to just talk about this from the beginning, because if you mention the Nelons in any form or fashion, you can't have a conversation unless we miss your father. We talk about your father in some way or another, Hall of Famer Rex Nelon, who's no longer with us. Is it difficult? Rex was an integral part of NQC for so many years. Is it hard for you on a personal level to go back to NQC and be a part of that? Because I think about people whose father was the pastor of a certain church, and their father pastored that church for years, and then their father may have passed away or something like that. And then when they go back to the church 15, 20 years later, it may be a little difficult for them, not difficult to go, but just the memories, just the thoughts. Do you get overwhelmed? Do you get anxiety? I mean, when you go to NQC, you've got to be thinking about your pop. I mean, your thoughts on that?
I do think about him, and it was especially hard when we first went back, after he passed away, and we went back to Louisville, because I could see him everywhere. I mean, everywhere I turned, my heart would just it would drop. It was really hard in the beginning. But moving to Pigeon Forge, I don't have the memories of him being there, but I do have memories of him every day. Like yesterday was the Hall of Fame inductee, ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
And it was it was a really neat thing because Maurice Lefevre was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And of course, the Nelons, Rex Nelon singers, got our start from the Lefevres, but also Melvin Cloud was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And you may not know this, but the Cloud Indian family was recognized and loved by Eva Mae Lefevre, who got them put on
Wally Fowler.
The Wally Fowler show, All Night Singing. And Wally Fowler was the one that told them to dress in their national headdress, the total Indian dress. And so
funny story they told about that. The first time they came to the Wally Fowler Sing, they had their blacks. Melvin was telling us this last night.
Yeah.
They had their black suits on. They had all their black hair slicked back, and just looked perfect. And Wally Fowler, he had never heard him before. Eva Mae brought him to the show, and he said, "I love you guys." He goes, "I've got this idea. I want to do this Italian bit, and you guys are Italian, right?" And he was like, "No, we're not Italian.
We're Indians."
He said, "We're Indians." And he said, oh, well, I've got this great idea where we got to do this Native American bit. Can y'all get the full headdress?
So they actually went back to South Dakota and asked their people
reservation
on the reservation to dress them. And that's how they started. So someone there that night said, do any of you remember seeing them in their full dress? Well, guess who raised their hand? Melvin Clout and Kelly Nelon.
There you go.
Because I remember it well. So it's funny how we're all entwined together. We're really just one big family. And so Daddy's picture popped up on the screen a couple of times yesterday. And
nice. Great memories. Jason, you and I have talked about this before. And when we had you on individually, and I've got to ask you this, how's your health? I mean, we all...
I am so farther down the road than when we talked last. Now I did have another little hiccup. I don't know. Right after I talked to you, I was out messing with one of our horses, and I got kicked in the knee by that horse and shattered my knee and shin. I had to have emergency knee surgery, and so I was bedridden for another 3 months. So after the heart surgery and the knee surgery, I am doing so much better.
And he's in a bubble now. So
Kelly, when you moved to the farm, first off, let me just say this. Kelly's from my hometown, and we kid each other about this. We went to Crosstown High Schools. She went to Campbell. I went to Wills.
Woohoo, Campbell!
Now we're merged together. Did you ever envision yourself growing up in Smyrna, Georgia, okay, the home of Kelly Nelon and Julia Roberts? Did you ever envision yourself living on a farm in West Georgia?
Absolutely never, ever. I mean, farm was not in my vocabulary. But saying that, I love it. I love my little cows and I love my horses. I love just being out there in the quiet. I don't love the coyotes, but I love being out there. I love that we go from this fast-paced, do this, do that, do this, to getting home, and it's quiet. I can walk the driveway and just visit nature and see the beautiful sky. I love it.
It's a big transition from a girl who was always lived 10 minutes from a mall. I mean, this has been pretty big for her, but she's been a trooper. I mean, everybody comes up to me at our merch table and says, I cannot believe that I'm watching you guys on Facebook and seeing Kelly out there feeding cows and horses. I mean, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, who is this person? But she's doing well. She's learned a lot since we've been in this transition.
I have learned a lot. I've learned that girl cows who have never had a baby are called heifers, or their first time mamas. And I tell Jason, you better never call me a heifer. It really just becomes after they have a baby, they're just called a cow, and he can't call me that either. So
now, but listen to this, Darren. This is how crazy Kelly and the girls. We've had 14 calves. Every calf that we have, these girls, they get out there in the field with balloons, a pink balloon or a blue balloon for the gender reveal party. And when they find out what it is, they release the balloon. And then, of course, they've been naming all these calves after people in gospel music. And I mean, our neighbors think that we are absolutely crazy.
Yeah. And the last boy we had, I named him Bull Gaither.
There you go. Well, if you're going to name one after the main person, name one after the Godfather. So
that's right.
I mean, that's the way it works. Kelly, me and you are friends on Facebook, so you see a lot of my personal stuff. I see a lot of your personal stuff. How has social media changed gospel music and the interaction with fans?
For me, It has changed totally. I mean, I recognize people's names and know them because they comment on my Facebook page. And honestly, I've gotten a lot closer with the fans, and I can, I'm one of those who answer people. A lot of people in the industry, they just watch and post, and, they don't say much just because they don't want to or whatever. They're too busy. But I talk to them. I talk to him in the morning. I talk to him in the afternoon, middle of the night when I can't sleep. Somebody's up, and so I really think it has changed, just changed so many things in our industry because you're able to get the news out there immediately. You know, when my father passed away, it had to come out in radio or by newspaper. But now it's immediate. I mean, if we want the people to know something, you just put it out there on social media and they know it.
It's changed, as you know, being in media business. I mean, print media is 2 months behind, you know. I mean, something happens, they're finding out about it on the day of within moments, you know. So at that part, it's really, really changed.
It's been great. Honestly, it's been great. It's been a great way for us to keep in touch with the fans and our friends and everything that we may be doing. They find out immediately where you used to have to wait for 2 months. And now it's just like, bam, it's on there.
You know, here's Kelly, you're married to an innovator in Jason, okay? What do you think innovators of old, folks like your father, folks like the great Eldridge Fox, do you think they would have embraced social media and been all about it to reach fans just like Jason, just like other folks are? Do you think they would have used that and seen the growth of it? Or do you think they would have fought it like some other groups and some other individuals have? I've talked to people that say, well, I don't have time to be on social media. I'm not going to do it. I mean, what's your thought on that with those old timers? You were as close to them as anybody in the world.
You know, as far as my father was concerned, I think he would have embraced it. Now, he may not have done it himself. He may have had somebody do it for him because when he passed away, he was just right in the age of computers, you know, and getting on the computer and stuff. So he had people do it for him, but he wasn't quite computer savvy at the time. But I think he would have embraced it. Absolutely. Daddy was always, you know, looking at the next thing, and it might have been a little tougher for them to understand it, you know, but I really do think he would have embraced it.
Nice.
If it was going to help us, he would embrace it.
Well, if you look at their histories, especially some of the ones you mentioned, I mean, with Rex and the Lefevres, they were so cutting edge using TV and radio in a commercial way. You know, there were some artists back then, you know, where that was considered a quote-unquote sin if you were making commercial music and charging tickets for your concerts. And the Lefevres were leading the charge of commercial music, you know, and then, of course, they had the Lefevre Sound Studio, and they had the Caravan Tour, and they were so cutting edge at the time. So you just got to believe that if this was their heyday, this generation, you just got to believe that they would use whatever's available to be forward thinkers and to get the music to as many people as possible around the world.
Jason, let's look in a crystal ball for just a second. You're a traditionalist. You're a traditionalist, I know, just from our conversations, but you're also very progressive in the way you think and the way you see. Where will this love in this industry be that we all love? Where will it be in 10 years? What's your thoughts?
Okay, well, I don't think it, you know, I've heard this so long. You hear the statement of, well, our fans are dying off, and I've never bought into that.
I don't believe it either. I really don't.
I've never, Bill Gaither's one, he's been around 60 years doing this professionally. And he said the same thing. He said, I've heard this for 60 years.
Yeah.
He said, this kind of music is the season of life when you've kind of come through, you know, a certain season, and you want something that reaches the depths of your soul in a more impactful way than maybe other type of music that has a lighter side of lyrics. He said, this is the music you turn to. And that's why you see a lot of our crowd, it's this season of life, middle age and senior adults. They're like, I need lyrics like this
that will captivate me and move me for what I do. The history of the hurts and the trials and successes, tragedies and triumphs, everything that I've faced in my life. But I also believe, I was having a conversation with Joseph Habedank yesterday, and I love Joseph. Joseph is also a traditionalist, but he's also a young, exciting artist. And our two daughters are traditionalists. They love our heritage, but they're young, exciting artists. Those three, Joseph, Amber, and Autumn, could stand on any stage in any genre of music and not have to take a back seat to anybody in regards to talent or vocal prowess. And they love our heritage. But we were talking, and I was just telling Joseph, I'm so proud of you because I believe that your generation, you and Amber and Autumn and some others, I believe you're leading the charge. And he says, he said, I tell you, Jason, he said, I'm seeing even the grandparents are embracing the more progressive style of music. He goes, my lyrical content hasn't changed. It's still the same deep, heartfelt lyrics. But obviously the music style is changing and it's getting a little bit more progressive. And when I say progressive, just using a different approach to sing this style of lyric. And he said, the grandparents are loving it because you know why? He goes, because their grandkids are loving it. Exactly. And when the grandkids love something, the grandparents love it. And I said, you know what? You're exactly right. You've seen churches that have embraced, maybe praise and worship or, and other styles of music because the kids saying, hey, take me to church. I love what they do down there. And the grandparents are smiling and says, yes, I'm about that. So when you can marry great lyrics, like I believe in a hill called Mount Calvary, with great music, I believe you can bridge the generational gap. And that's what we've been about. And I believe we're on the cusp of seeing that now. I've seen our audiences get younger and younger in the past 3 or 4 years. And I'm telling you, and I'm not just saying this, I am more encouraged right now in the midst of a pandemic and everything else we've been facing. I am more encouraged about the future of our music than I've ever been in my entire life. And I mean that.
Kelly, back in the day, okay, when I say back in the day, we'll take this back when you were a few years younger than you are now. You had the opportunity, no doubt. You had the opportunity, no doubt, to what some folks want to say, cross over to the dark side. You basically, in all truthfulness, could have took the path of an Amy Grant, could have took the path of a Twyla Paris, could have took that path. But yet, you co-hosted the Dove Awards with Glenn Campbell, but yet you stayed true to Southern gospel music and gospel music. Any regrets, any thoughts on maybe I should have done that? Financially, I'll just be honest with you and be forthright because we're always transparent on this show. You probably financially would have been a whole lot better off if you'd have went Amy Grant's way. We all seen what she sold her catalog of music to EMI for a couple of years ago. Heck, that's nice, and Amy's a wonderful lady, and we've talked to her, and she's a friend. But do you ever have any regrets that you didn't go that path?
No, I don't really have any regrets, and I do remember there was a turning point. I was with Benson Records, and I had 3 songs in the top 10, actually in the top 5 of the inspirational chart. And the president of Benson called me into his office, and there was a turning point there where I was on my own, and Daddy was calling me back to be with the group again, and I had to make a choice, either to stay as a soloist and continue on. And he said, we've got big plans for you, we've got all this stuff. And he said, tell me you're not going to go back. And I said, honestly, I don't feel like it's going back. I feel like I'm going home to my roots, to what I'm true to, and to my first love, and that's traditional Southern gospel music. And I'm going with my family. And so I didn't really feel like I had a choice. I felt like it was just the right thing to do. And so I told him, thank you for everything, and went back with my father. And you know what? It was the right thing to do and the best thing to do because it gave my daughters the future of the Nelons. So when I'm dead and gone, they can still sing and still carry on tradition and the legacy that my father started. So it was the right choice and the best thing, and I don't regret it.
Awesome. Awesome work. Hey, guys, you got a new project coming out this October, and everybody's pretty excited about it. Peace at Last. Jason, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I will say this music, I believe it's probably the most important, timely collection of songs that we may have ever released. I know our record company, they're over the moon excited about it, and that's given us a lot of passion, a lot of energy, because to see their excitement for it. We've released a couple singles to kind of promote the record, If God Pull Back the Curtain, and then a new song that just came out called Jordan that features Autumn. And our video for If God Pull Back the Curtain, we cut that back when we couldn't get together. Social distancing had just started. We weren't touring. We did a Zoom video, and we recorded the video in 4 different locations, and it got millions of views when we put it out there. And then we just recorded a new music video for the single Jordan at our farm, and Singing News just debuted that last week, and the single's doing great. I want to tell you a story about the title song that just really is affirming to me that God has got this music for such a time as this, because we've had this record done for a year. We were supposed to release it back in February, and we decided, because of my health, and I couldn't really market the record, we were going to wait till spring. Well, then COVID came. And then we decided, well, we don't want to release this record in the midst of all this COVID uncertainty, so let's just wait till the fall. So we've been sitting on this music for a long time, but we thought, wow, it couldn't have been more perfect, because the other night we were invited last week to go to Washington, D.C., and we were part of the D.C. Awakening, and then we were part of the Return and then the March with Franklin Graham. We were singing in the tent at the Crusade, right on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial there at the mall, and the tent was full of people, wall to wall. We began to sing Peace at Last, which is the title cut of the song. And I wrote this song with Tony Wood over a year ago, but I had no idea what 2020 would hold for me personally and even for around the world. But as we're singing this song, I'm looking around this tent and I see these flags that represent all the nations of the world. And in the middle, there's the United States flag. A man that was on the outside heard this song. He comes into the tent. We're in a 3,000-seat tent, and no one can see him because he's in the back, only us on the platform. And he begins to wave this massive Israeli flag with the Star of David, and under that a banner that said, Jesus is Messiah, as we're singing Peace at Last. And I looked at this prophetic moment. Every kindred, every tribe, every tongue, the United States flag, the Israeli flag, and we're singing together. Peace at last, the time for tears will all be past, there will be peace at last. And then Kelly begins to sing the last verse. Oh, there's a place our God's preparing where the lion lays by the lamb will gather at the feet of Jesus, there will be peace at last. All the nations of the earth have gathered. And I drew all the attention of everybody in the tent to the man waving the Israeli flag, and we began to sing the chorus again a cappella. And Darren, I'm telling you, it was a special moment. I knew that God had held this music back for such a time as our country needs it. It's a unifying record. It's a time where these are lyrics that will bring us together in our country and even around the world. And I can't wait for people to hear it. But that was a very, very special moment that I will not soon forget.
Awesome stuff. Kelly, how's this project different from all the hundreds of others you've been involved in?
Well, I think it's different because I believe it is God. Not that the others weren't God ordained, but this project was meant to be, and I know it with all of my heart. This project was meant to be for right now. I mean, people need to hear that there is hope. There are people who are dying. There are people who've lost their homes. There are people who think, will we ever be normal again? There are people who just need to feel the hope and the peace. And our songs are filled in this project, filled with that. There's one that's just kind of an upbeat song. Lord, give me patience like the patience of Job. We've all needed that in these past 6 to 9 months. We've needed to have a little bit of patience, just to wait it out and see that God is going to deliver us. We're going to be better than ever. Our churches are going to be filled again, but we've got to believe it, and we have to trust in God. And I believe every lyric on every song speaks of that, and speaks of hope, and speaks of the love of the Lord, and that we will get through and we will have peace, because Jesus is the only peace.
Awesome word, awesome word. We could sit here for the next, 2 hours and talk, but you guys have got business to do. I've got business to do, and that's the way friends do, and I appreciate you guys' friendship and taking time to sit down and talk this afternoon. It's been fun.
Well, we love you, dear. Go Panthers, Campbell Panthers.
And your podcast, Darren, is the best out there. And we anytime you want us on there, you just make the call. We'll do it. We love it.
Well, hold me captain in the car.
I appreciate that. You know, to say it's the best is saying something, because I think everybody in the world started one now. But you know what I think makes us different? And here's what I will say, and Arthur says this. We're all friends. We're sitting here talking today like we're on the front porch, and that's the way we want to keep it. You follow what I'm saying? We just want to keep it real.
Yeah, we are friends.
And
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like an interview. It's just like a phone conversation, just catching up.
Yep.
I love that.
Yep. All righty, guys. Thanks so much. It's the Nelons. Jason, tell them where they can find that project online, and how they can grab a hold of it, and how they can contact you guys if they need to.
Well, you can find all about it and even watch all the music videos at our website, thenelons.com. If they want to sign up and be a part of our prayer letter that sends out new music every month, all they've got to do is text the word Nelon, Nelon, to this number, 33777. Text Nelon to 33777. You can sign up and learn everything you need to know about our family, and follow us on all the socials and everything else. We love it.
Thank you, my friend. Kelly Nelon Clark and Jason Clark on SGNP. We'll be right back right after this.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-590-1164. 800-590-1164. 800-590-1164. Call right now. 800-590-1164.
You've been crushed, torn and tattered, made you feel like it just don't matter. Here you are, thinking never could you trust anyone again ever. But don't you know there's nothing that love can't mend? It can make you over again. You can love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. And love, love, love all day long. All the dreams that have faded, all the years not a moment was wasted. All the shame, all the hurting, through it all, love was always there working. But don't you know there's nothing that love can't mend? It can make you over again. You can love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. Love, love, love. You can love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. Love, love, love. You can love, love, love all day long.
Oh, love that keeps on reaching, never stops believing. This kind of love is here to stay.
Love that has no limits, just in every minute that something good is on its way. You can love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. Love, love, love.
You can love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. Love, love, love. You can love, love, love all day long.
Love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. And love, love, love.
You can love like your heart has never been broken.
Give like nobody's ever done you wrong. Sing like your joy has never been stolen. And love, love, love.
You can love like your heart has never been broken. Give like nobody's ever done you wrong.
Sing like your joy has never been stolen. And love, love. You can love.
You can love, love, love all day long.
And welcome back to Southern Gospel News Podcast. Darren Sutherland, Arthur Rice, we're closing it out. Arthur, I asked Kelly this question, and I'll repeat it for you. And I thought it was a great answer, and how she answered, she just had to follow the Lord. I said, Kelly, I said, back in the late 70s, early 80s, you had the opportunity to become the next Amy Grant, the next Twyla Paris. And for folks that don't know those names, they're big-time contemporary Christian names. But yet you came back and you told the record company face-to-face that you wanted to come home and be with your father, and you're glad of it because you see the legacy and you see what's out there for Amber and Autumn 20 and 30 years from now. Arthur, that's saying something, is it not?
It is. Yeah, it is. It is. And, well, it goes right back to Mark Trammel's interview. You know, the world may see it one way, and we may, the logical thing might be one particular way, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the Lord's will. And you just have to do your best to try to stay in the center of His will. And the closer we can get to that, when stuff doesn't turn out the way we want it, the little it matters.
Yeah. And guys, let me just throw this out there from a Christian music perspective, just so you'll know. When Amy Grant sold her catalog of songs and music to EMI, okay, she wrote the songs, she sang the songs, she produced the songs. When she sold her catalog of music to EMI, which is owned by Sony Music Group, which manages Michael Jackson stuff and a lot of other folks, she got $20 million for singing Christian music. Okay, they gave her a check for $20 million. This is in addition to what she had already made. So Kelly turned down an opportunity. I'm not saying she would have sold her catalog for $20 million, but know what she turned down to follow what she felt was the right thing to do and coming back home to gospel music. And you know what? Here's what I think about Kelly sometimes. I think a lot of people look at her and throw stones, okay? Because A, she's a gorgeous lady. B, she's got great character. C, she's so nice and so transparent and so blunt that quite frankly, they're jealous of her in a lot of senses. And here's what I know. She's blessed as many people as any gospel artist alive today. Been doing it since she was 16 years old. I'm not going to tell how old she is now, but you know that. And
Absolutely.
Boy, I'm on a pulpit today. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Yep.
Well, man, I know you got a lot of work to do up there at NQC this week. I appreciate Kelly and Jason for joining us. Remember, their new project comes out in October. Arthur, anything new? Anything big going on?
It's
down
going to
there?
be good. I've heard. You know, we've got a new. We're working on a new album, and it's a little bit different. It'll be. We're actually doing the album, releasing one new song a month. Before the album comes up, we're releasing it to streaming, and it'll either be streaming or radio, whatever the timing works out. But each month you'll get a brand new song from us.
Nice.
For the next 10, 11 months, and then the album comes out. So if you listen to streaming, find us and be looking for it. We got a brand new one coming out next month. So it's exciting. It's different, but I'm excited about it.
Maybe we'll remember and premiere one of them on SGNP. Could we do that? Maybe.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's do that. And who knows, man? Well, you know what? I'll let you go. I know you've got a lot to do up there at NQC. Tell Clark when you see him if you're going to be there the rest of this week. And I know you've got a lot of duties outside of NQC. You may or may not. But after this is over, this fall festival, we're going to get Clark back on. We're going to promote NQC 2021. And I believe gospel music's best days with the SGMA, with NQC, and with the Nelons and the Kingdom Heirs. I think the horizons are huge, okay? And if you see Mark Trammell, tell him his message 2 weeks ago still encouraging me. Fire enough?
I sure will.
All right, buddy.
Pray for us. Everybody pray for us. We'll have the wisdom to
you're going to be fine.
Know what to do.
You're going to be fine. Man, I can see, man, it's just all kind of good stuff. Hey, what's wrong with living right anyway, Arthur?
Not one thing.
Not one thing. We'll talk to you soon right here on Southern Gospel News Podcast.
SGNP is excited you chose to listen today. If you'd kindly leave a remark and rating in the podcast remarks section, we surely would appreciate it. Please share with a friend or family member. Look for us on Facebook, Twitter, and our new website, southerngospelnewspodcast.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies. Rates have dropped dramatically in the past 2 years. For example, a man age 45 non-tobacco user, $1 million of coverage is only $75 per month, level for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can buy $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rates for 20 years. And if you're a smoker, we have great rates for you as well. At the Term Lifeline, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. So if you're looking for new or replacement term life insurance, call right now for a free quote.
Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes are based on preferred non-tobacco underwriting exam required to qualify. 800-803-2142. 800-803-2142. That's 800-803-2142.